Greetings and blessings. Blessings and greetings, blessed souls, as long as you're alive, because we want to stay alive. In Torah Chaim, Torah Chesed, Torah Rachamim. This is the state of education versus the faithful shepherd. By the way, I noticed in the first three parts that I did, I typed in shepherd with ending in an A-R-D instead of E-R-D. So I hope I don't mind that mistake. I hope that didn't dampen anyone's enthusiasm to listen to my humble efforts here. We're going to try to cross-pollinate a paper that was written for graduate work done at Harvard University, and the paper was entitled The New American Academy, which is a new model for education, and it was done by the following blessed souls. I'm not going to pronounce their names, you can just see. 1, 2, 3. And let's see. This person, the last person is my good friend who I pray with in the morning at the Blessed Frankel Shul in Crown Heights. And this was a paper that they submitted, final paper, Politics, Policy Making, Political Action and Education, presented to Dr. Elmore a little over 2 years ago. So we're going to jump right into it, blessed souls. You have to, I guess, catch part 1, 2, and 3 to catch up. And we're dealing with David Nyberg's theory of power and the history of present American education. Now, I talked to one of the participants in this master degree paper, and he actually told me that the idea is, hopefully, if it will work here, say New York City, it can work in other parts of the country eventually, and all around the world. And we'll see where we're going this in a second. So let's bite off a little chunk of this paper now and infuse it with a teaching from Rebbe Rebbe, from a Hasidic mimer he gave out 19 years ago called Atakot Saba. Let's go right into it. So David Nyberg's theory of power, in his book Power Over Power 1981, is instrumental in designing a new educational system. Nyberg defines power into 2 parts within a 5-part continuum of consent with 4 forms. Let's look at them briefly. The 2 parts require that one must have at least 2 people to exercise any power. One is the planner, and the other is the one who consents to the plan. So basically, in a sense, blessed soul, we have, in one dumbing down of this scenario, we have the designer of a school, and the Board of Education, or the designer of the school, and the teachers who are hired by the designer of the school. Or on a more simplistic level, you have teacher and student. Let's go further into it. The 5-part power, one is the planner, and the other is the one who consents to the, getting a little sloppy there, to the plan. The 5-part continuum of consent is, first, acquiescence under threat of sanction. Ooh, that's a rough way to get an education. Second, compliance based on partial or slanted information, like propaganda. Third, indifference due to habit and apathy. Wow, we have a lot of that in this world right now, don't we, blessed souls? Fourth, conformity to custom. That's certainly prevalent. And fifth, commitment through informed judgment. That's the type of educational system I hope we're bound to in the present and the most existential stunts, blessed souls, and into the future. Thus, I'm getting a little sloppy here. Thus, the continuum ranges from coerced consent to its opposite, which is commitment through informed judgment. It is this last part of the continuum that interests us. This was the people who wrote this graduate paper. We wish to create an educational system that brings as little coercion into the classroom and as much commitment to informed judgment as possible. So that gives you a little taste of what was going on with this paper written 2 years ago, which I was told by one of the participants in writing, who wrote the paper, did the research, that Dr. Elmore, that's Dr. Richard Elmore, So this was the best paper ever submitted to him in his years as a professor at Harvard University. So let's kind of like splice that together, blessed souls, with a teaching from the Lubavitcher Rebbe about, the idea of informed judgment, decision making, which creates greater commitment. Now, here we see in the Hebrew teaching by the Lubavitcher Rebbe, and basically the Rebbe said that the empowerment of the nation of Israel was through Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, and that he empowered the children of Israel by sustaining them with a certain type of experience, an innate human ability and consciousness called the moon of faith. The nation of Israel, yes, in fact, had their own level of emunah, but it was possible, even by the children of Israel, from those days when they were taken out of Egypt until these days, and so I want to let you know, I'm paraphrasing, I'm not reading word for word, because when you read word for word, translating straight from the Hebrew to English, something will get lost. I'm kind of paraphrasing it, but I really encourage anyone to learn more about this matter on your own. I think you might even find English translations of it, which is Shabbat Pashat Tetzava, which was a Hasidic discourse the Rebbe had delivered on the 10th of Adar Rishon in Tavshin Mem Aleph, when the minor is called Ata Tetzava. So anyway, even though the nation of Israel considered to be believers and the children of believers, it is possible that the emunah, the faith, will be external, superficial. Therefore, it was the role of Moshe in his generation and the levels of Moshe in each generation, because the Zohar, there's a dispersion of the spirit of Moshe in every generation to our generation, that people are able to stand up to the point of self-sacrifice. So what is self-sacrifice? Commitment, a very strong type of commitment, blessed souls, in the particular level of education the nation of Israel was gaining through the revelation of Mount Sinai, which is through learning Torah, which we of Israel humbly remind everyone means divine instruction, and mitzvot, which are the commandments which emanate out of the divine instruction, that we can be more connected with the Most High. Okay, and that with this being said, that we are empowered, therefore, through our faith and through the learning of Torah and doing of mitzvahs, to have more informed information and judgment to strengthen our commitment, even with the trials and tribulations of the exile experience of not just Israel, but of the human condition, that we're able to stand up, even though we get crushed. But just what happens when you crush an olive oil? You get the essence. You get something which is usable for light and for nutrition, food, for sustaining other human beings. So basically, that's something that we can learn, I think, perhaps fuse together. I'm not going to try to connect all the dots, but rather to fuse together these, so to speak, concepts coming from two different realms of consciousness. The realms of consciousness of Chassidus, which are designed to empower the human intellect to go a little bit beyond its own limitations and boundaries, with the excellent paper that was written by that group of 6 blessed souls about the new model of education. This is Dante Sue Goodman. Again, I don't rehearse this. This is kind of like off the cuff, but hopefully will stir up in your blessed minds some food for thought about integrating the idea within your own life and with your family's life, or if your children are going to school. We talk about the newsletters about informed judgment, creating more commitment by the students, which will lead to greater success in school, which will hopefully lead to more intelligent choices and proper choices to make this a better world. Ahav echad, one love, goal echad, one destiny, kulan of all is b'dach shalom. In a peaceful and pleasant way, lahamshik, to be continued, the blessings, Hashem Yisberach with the Most High may be blessed.